Here we are for General Rule 3, and you may be feeling a little overwhelmed. Always remember, it could be worse. In this session, we will be covering the third General Rule of Interpretation, or GRI 3. GRI 3 is used for the classification of goods that are prima facie, Latin for at first view, classifiable under two or more headings. In such instances, the goods are classified pursuant to this rule on the following three criteria, taken and presented in order. Part A tells us that goods should be classified in the heading that provides the most specific description. For example, a description by name is much more specific than a description by class. If I were to tell you that a great white shark just swam by, that would be more specific than if I were to say a fish just swam by. A more applicable example would be using the term electric shavers rather than electromechanical hand tools. Another way to look at this is a description that more accurately describes a product is more specific. For example, to identify an item as parts and accessories of is not as complete as naming the actual product. Assume that I am importing speakers that are designed only to go into cars. I can classify them as automotive parts, or as GRI 3 tells us to do, under the correct provision for speakers. The same would apply to an automotive jump starter. It should be classified as a battery, not as an automotive part. To review, if the product can be placed under more than one provision, GRI 3A tells us to use the provision that provides the most specific description. Part B of GRI 3 covers mixtures, composite goods, and sets, and the use of essential character. A simple example of mixed goods or mixtures would be peas and carrots. Another would be oats and barley. Both of these mixtures contain items that could be separately classified, and there is no provision in the tariff that provides for the mixture as a whole. Rule 3b will tell us under which provision to classify the peas and carrots. Composite goods are goods made up of different materials or that perform two or more different functions. Remember from our previous lesson of GRI 2, we talked about coffee with chicory and milk with vitamin D. GRI 3b tells us to use essential character to classify the coffee and the milk. Let's take a frying pan that is made of steel and aluminum. Would it be classified under steel or under aluminum? Part B answers this question. Another type of composite good is one that has multiple functions, such as a radio that includes a flashlight. The radio would be classified under 8527 and the flashlight under 8513. Rule 3 will address that situation. The third kind of goods that are covered by Rule 3b are those that put up in sets. Briefly, sets are items of different classifications that are put up in a single package for sale to the end user. 3b tells us to classify the sets according to the essential character or the main reason you would buy the set. All of the above goods, which are mixed goods or composite goods, will be classified as if they consisted of the attribute that gives them their essential character. There are exceptions to Rule 3b. These exceptions are outlined in the additional U.S. Rules of Interpretation, which we will cover later. However, for right now, what you need to know is that textiles and alloys of base metal are to be classified by the textile or metal that predominates by weight. What you have to watch for, especially on the exam, is that they will give you a product to classify, and the percentage of one of the elements will be higher than the other, but the weight of the higher percentage element will be lower. For example, a shirt could be 55% poly and 45% cotton, but the cotton could weigh more. Now we are going to go into sets. There are three rules which govern sets, and they are as follows. The set must consist of at least two different articles classifiable into different headings. There may be more articles, but there must be at least two. These articles must be put together to meet a particular need or activity, and these articles must be packed in a manner suitable for sale directly to the end user. So the definition of a set is at least two different items put together to meet a particular need or activity and packaged together for sale directly to the end user. Looks like I see essential character peeking through here. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it must be a set. Let's take a look at some examples. The first example we are going to look at is a spaghetti meal. See my happy meatballs? A spaghetti meal, as you would purchase it at a store, would consist of uncooked spaghetti in 1902, grated cheese, which falls in 0406, and canned tomato sauce in 2103. All these items are put together in one carton for sale to the end user. So how do we classify this? Well, Customs has determined that what you are actually buying, or what the majority of the meal would be, is the spaghetti. All the other things are just to help it taste better. This spaghetti is classified in 1902. Therefore, the spaghetti meal will be classified in 1902. Another set with more bits and pieces would be something that would be used for the cutting of hair. The hair cutting set consists of clippers and comb, scissors, brush, some towels, and a case to carry it all in. What we have to determine is what the major piece is. Someone who would be buying this hair cutting set would probably have started out to the store for electric clippers. Finding the entire set that can be kept in one place in its own case is icing on the cake. Therefore, the hair cutting set will be classified in 8510, the heading for the clippers. Some other set examples we will find are a doll with clothing and accessories, such as a Barbie doll, and another is a lunchbox with a thermos bottle. Both of these are good examples of sets. What is not a set? A combination of tools sold in a carton to the end user would not be a set. It may be sold as a set, but does not qualify, as there is no single purpose. All the tools are of equal status. When these tools are imported, each one would have to be classified and valued. A set of glasses is not a set. These only have one tariff number for all the glasses, and to qualify as a set, there must be a minimum of 2. Also not a set is this gift basket containing many different items, and as such would not be a set. There is no particular activity that this addresses. So when these are imported into the States, each item needs to be classified and valued. The final part of Rule 3 is used when the goods can fall equally well into 2 or more provisions of the harmonized tariff. GRR 3, in Part C, states that if the goods cannot be classified by using the first 2 criteria, the goods should be classified under the heading that occurs last in numerical order from among those that equally merit consideration. An example would be the mixture of oats and barley. The oats are 1003, the barley is 1004. So the correct classification for the mixture is 1004, as there is no other classification for the mixture. Then there are our peas 0708 and carrots 0706, which will be placed under heading 0708. Next we have a water dispenser that incorporates a water heater for hot water and a water chiller for cold water. Both of the tanks are of equal size. Let's see how this one works out. The water dispenser can fall under 2 separate but equal tariff numbers. The cooling side is 8419, 69, 9540, and the heating side is 8516, 10, 0080. Each provision merits consideration. The tariff number that the dispenser is to be classified under is the one that occurs last in the tariff book, or 8516, 10, 0080. Let us review GRI 3. A has to do with using the more specific heading that clearly identifies the product. B concerns the classification of mixtures, composite goods, and sets using essential character. And finally, C states that if you can't classify using A or B, then the heading to choose among those that merit consideration is the one that occurs last in numerical order. That concludes this session on GRI 3. Only 3 more rules to go. We didn't do too good with the bull riding, but now that we know more of the rules, let's see if a horse would be better. Hang on and see you in the next session.